welcome Banished Pile. We got ourselves here Ryan playing TRAPTRIX, and this is a day 2 TRAPTRIX list. Ryan went 9-3, right?
Yep,
9-3. All right. Well, let's take a look and see what you were playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So played TRAPTRIX, main deck. Played 3 Murmillo, best starter in the deck. 3 Mantis, second best starter in the deck. 2 Dionea, 2 Putica, and 2 Pampa. So pretty standard. I know some people play 3 Putica. Going up to the event, I was tired of working on monsters, so I wanted to make it pretty slim. And honestly, the number felt really good throughout the entire day. So I was happy with it. 3 Ashes because of Branded, and then 3 Parallax Seed, best extender. This was the first event that I tested siding this out, going second, and it's absolutely the right play. You side this out going second for like better tech cards because you don't really need this like going second for the extra extender because you want to do your best to get your Sarah on board in the first place. So, and then I did main 3 Nib. This card I've been back and forth on for pretty much the entire format. I ended up deciding to play it because of the size of LA. I was like, I probably can catch some players off guard with it. I drew it 3 times, once against Lab, once against Sprite. Both times it was dead in those matchups, but I still won the game, which is nice. And then I did resolve it against a Dragon Link player, but I misplayed my game too, so it didn't really matter. But going forward, I would probably not play this, at least not for right now. So spells, I played 1 Garden and 3 Pot. I did see that the guy who got top 64 was playing 2 Garden. I've thought about it, but I still think only 1 is really needed. And Prosperity was really good for me all day, helped me break boards and draw evenly, so I liked it. Only 4 spells. For traps, played 3 of the best card in the deck. This card's absolutely insane. A bunch of weird rulings came up throughout the entire day with it. One of the big ones that happened was round 9. I had my Sprite opponent banished this with, what's the rank 2? Oshimabaru, whatever it is. And then we had a discussion over whether or not it comes back to the field or if it stays banished. And the judge actually came over, the first judge ruled that it comes back to the field, which my opponent then appealed, and then the head judge ruled because of Prime and Farfa as a precedent before, that it actually, when it's banished, since it can't be in the monster zone as a trap, that it actually goes to grave instead. So it ended up working out really well for me because he banished it, it went to grave, and my Putica was live. So it didn't matter, I was pretty far ahead in that game anyways, but it was a cool interaction that hadn't really came up until then. So 3 Holtea. I played 1 Floodgate, 1 Nightmare, 1 Terrifying, and 1 Gravedigger. This felt really good, these 3. You don't need more than 1 Grave. This has been really hit or miss for me. I feel like this card's really bad, but everybody tells me it's really good, so I keep playing it. I didn't use it more than once the entire weekend. And then this card's insane. So Floodgate, I wish I'd played 2 of this. There were multiple times where like I would set Floodgate and then wish I also had another Floodgate to use with like Rafflesia. But like it wasn't that big of a deal, but having the second just for safety would have been nice. I played 2 Torrential. This is different from most people's list. Not too many people are on Torrential. I didn't draw it a single time, either day 1 or day 2, so I honestly can't tell you if it's good, but it sounds good in theory. So we'll see how it goes moving forward. MVP by far of the weekend was Evenly. I only won 1 die roll the entire weekend. It was actually insane. But I did draw evenly like over half of my matchups. So, including double evenly against a Sprite player. So, this card was clutch all weekend for me. So, I definitely would not change it. And then 3 Imperm. It's a trap deck, and this is just like good for setting against skill drain, different things like that. So, 40 card main deck. Felt really consistent. Not too many changes I would make. Extra deck, 3 Sarah. This is pretty self-explanatory. Card's absolutely bonkers. If this card stayed on the field, I pretty much won every game. 1 Adipus and 1 Caleria. Adipus, so at locals I go to this card like almost every game. I only summoned this maybe 3 or 4 times the whole tournament. I found myself just out-resourcing my opponent, and then they would just scoop before like I really needed to OTK. For Caleria, this was in here. I put it in here for Labyrinth because getting the multiple triggers on Murmello in the end phase is really nice. But it actually came up really well for me against Despia because my game 3 I anti-spelled them, and then I triggered a Murmello off of my summon off Sarah. I triggered it again off of a Holtea Effect Engrave, and I triggered it again in the end phase with Caleria. So I got 3 pops while under anti-spell in like a turn, in like 2 turns, and it just like completely stopped them from being able to come back at all. So it was really strong. One Link Rebo. I did get Ibleed twice. Everybody who told me to cut this, I'm proud to say they were wrong. Both of them were Sprite players that Ibleed me, and that's exactly what I was here for. So my round, I think it was round 1, I got Ibleed, and I summoned this, and I normal Morello, and he scooped, he said, I didn't think you'd have the Ibleed. So I'm happy I played it, for sure. One Alamaris. I only went into this maybe twice, but I won both games because this is like a super win more card. I did go into it with the Despia player. This was how I got my 4th pop. So yeah, really silly, but it's pretty win more. 2 Rafflesia. This is standard, I think. I'll banish 1 off Prosperity depending on the matchup, but usually I try to keep both in rotation. 1 Pingacola and 1 Redoer. It's funny because going into the tournament, I posted in our group chat about how in London a TRAPTRIX player on stream ended with like these and a Sarah, and I was like, that board's got to be so bad. And then literally my second round, I made this exact board without a Rafflesia, and it was insane. So I have to take back my words there. Ending on this plus Redoer plus Sarah was actually pretty good. It does lose hard to nib though, so if you feel like they might have the nib, I would still go Rafflesia. But like, this was still really strong. I did play Baguska. I didn't go into it a single time. It was always the first card that I banished off of Prosperity, and if this was an Exciton, I probably make top 64 because my round 3 loss against Sprite, if I played Exciton, I definitely would have won my game 2 and I would have 2-0'd that. And then my last round that I lost against Sprite in game 3, if I had this and didn't banish my like extra materials off Zeus, I would have been able to win that one as well. So this should definitely be an Exciton. You don't need Baguska. Same thing here, Sargass and Merrymaker. I only played it because I'm not playing the Therion stuff in the side. I only played it that way I can get a format Zeus. I did make format Zeus once and it got sphere moded, funny enough. So that didn't really come up for me. The other time it did come up though, like I was just mentioning, I actually banished these off Prosperity because I needed to use 2 Prosperities in the game. So I banished this off my Prosperity for the second one. And then the next turn, if I had had a 2-mat Zeus, I definitely would have been able to win, or an Exciton. So I still think this is really good, but if you're already playing Exciton, you don't need both, especially if you're not playing the Therion engine in the side. So probably don't need these, but it was fine on the weekend. And then obviously Zeus. I mean, I made it a lot, and it did really well. So it was very clean. Obviously 15 cards. Side deck, Cowboy, Change of Heart, and Mind Control. I never went into this because I didn't realize it was 45-minute rounds. I would not have played this if I knew it was 45-minute rounds going into it. I did lose 2 games, or 2 rounds day 1 to time, but it wasn't something that Cowboy could have fixed. It was just like a battle phase issue. So I would not play this for a YCS. These were amazing. They probably could have been Book of Eclipse just to like have a broader board outage, but I did have a game against Despia where I even lead and then Change of Heart took the Mirror Jade. He didn't chain to it, and then I was able just to kind of control the board with getting the Mirror Jade linked off and dealing with it that way. So it was really strong. And then for Mind Control, it came up in the mirror round 2 against one of my best friends. It was strong, so no complaints about it. Played 3 Gamma Steel. Only saw it a couple times, but it did help me on one game to out a Baron and then evenly, so that was really strong. But it's really good against a Rise Heart, so I don't regret it. I played 3 anti-spells in here. I did not play these. I played 3 anti-spells because I chose this over Barrier because Cash can still kill you through Barrier, but they rarely can kill you through anti-spell. This is also good because I know a lot of people were on Dark Ruler no more because of the Sprite matchup, and then also it's good against Despia. So it was great. I mean, it won me a lot of my games, so I was happy with it. And then I did play 3 Cosmic. This only came in against Lab and Sprite, and it didn't really come up. I played against 0 Runic Sprite and or Runic Naturia, and I'm very glad because that deck would have cooked me. absolutely cooked me. I was not prepared for it, but I dodged it, and this would have been like my only real side for that deck. So. Yeah, overall, I was really happy with it. It worked out well for my matchup.
I know you did a pretty good write-up of your weekend. What was your matchups?
Yeah, so I played a good amount of. I can actually pull them up here. Okay, so my round 1, I beat Sprite Adventure. It was pretty easy. Not really too much to say there. We both bricked game 3, and I actually attribute summoned Parallel Exceed to push for game. It was hilarious because he stuck a red on the board, and I was like, I can't let the red stay because then if he top deck like blue, he's back in the game. Meanwhile, like normal summon blue is fine. So I had to get rid of my Sarah and my Exceed that he ashed to tribute summon for Parallel Exceed, and then run over the red, and I just kept beating with it. It was after the game that I realized that Parallel actually triggers on normal summon too. So I could have normaled the Exceed and then specialed the other one as well, which would have been hilarious. But I mean, it was fine though. It was just really funny.
How many times are you normal summoning Parallel Exceeds? Like,
yeah, right. Like I only did it that one time, never did it after. Round 2, I played with my best friend's Lane. We were on the exact same list, exact same deck. We're teammates with the mirror for TRAPTRIX, and my hands were just insane. He didn't really have a chance there, unfortunately. Round 3, I lost to Sprite. Game 1 was really easy, and then I didn't have Exciton for Game 2, and then I didn't have enough time for Game 3 to actually be able to do damage. Round 4, I 2-0'd Cash. I think I 2-0'd Cash every time I played it this weekend, so Floodgate's just insane against that deck. And like Floodgate plus Redoer is like even more insane. So round 5, I played Cam Neal, and he was on Dragon Link, and it was the only die roll I won, so it's funny that I lost. Game 1, I just set up my normal board, and it was fine. Game 2, I misplayed super hard. I went for an OTK, and instead of making a Rafflesia, and I got nibbed. I thought because of like how good Cam Neal is that he would expect me to go for Rafflesia and not put in nibs, but he like double overthought my overthinking and kept in the nibs. And so I was greedy, and it cost me that game. And then game 3, he went second, went Magnum attack over Sarah, and then that was time. So lost in time there. But it was a great game. I definitely should have had it 2-0 if I just didn't misplay that game 2. Round 6, I played against Brandon Despia. Game 1, I ashed, and it was an FTK, and then game 2, I anti-spelled. Or sorry, game 2, I got puppeted, and then game 3, I anti-spelled. So it was really nice. Round 7, I 2-0'd Cash. Round 8, I 2-0'd Cash. I went 2-1 against Cash. Game 1, he lost me for 5 because I didn't open up any hand traps. And then game 2 and 3, I won pretty easily. Round 9, I played against Melfi Sprite, and I did win that one. Game 1, I had double evenly, and then game 3, I just had a lot of resource. And then day 2, round 10, I 2-0'd Cash again. Round 11, I lost to Sprite as well, which is like my worst matchup this weekend. Game 1 was really grindy, and I lost because I banished the Spriggans. Game 2, I won. It was pretty free. And then game 3, he told me to go first. I set up like a normal board. He cracked it pretty well, but I still had a good amount of resources. So he goes into his Sprite plays and goes Sprint, goes into Gigantic, does all of his plays. And then he goes into Mannequin Cat, summons my Mermello back, and goes into Tri-Brigade plays. And I didn't really think about the time. I was like, oh, he must have a level 2 Earth that he can summon like out of his deck. And he did, because he had the Cuirass, because he was teching like a 1 Cuirass, 1 Kit, 1 Fractal, 1 Nerval. I was like, that's cool. Like, just his deck was just teched better than mine. And but afterwards I realized that he actually couldn't have Mannequin Cat taken my Mermello to summon it. Because we were both locked into 4s, locked into 2s, not just him. So if that doesn't happen, then he doesn't get Revolt plus the draw and double Dragon Lord, and that makes a really, really big difference in that game. So I think I probably would have won game 3 if I had caught that, but you know, it's just the way it goes. And then round 12, I had a bye. My opponent didn't show up, and then that was it. So. Yeah.
Well, that's an excellent recap, and thank you, Ryan, for doing this, and congratulations on at least day 2ing. You know,
we'll get him next time.
You'll get him next time. You'll be taking the whole thing.
Yeah.
But thank you, and for Duel Radio, we're gonna sign off.
Thanks.